Sharing screen. So the question was, what's up with all the setting up the testimonials and such? So there are a few different things. WordPress will dynamically create a page that shows all your blog posts in chronological order. That is set up here in the reading settings. To do that, you have to create a blank page called My Blog or Musings or whatever you call your blog. And then you say that post page shows up, use this empty page as the dynamic lists of all my posts. So that's one thing. Depending on the theme you chose, it will have a special template that arranges those blog posts in a certain way. Whether that's, a thumbnail image and then a header and then, the first 200 characters of the body. So there are different layouts for the blog feed. They call it the blog feed or the river. I've heard it called the river. So that is a different thing. That's what I did on this testimonials page. I wanted to use a template that didn't show the sidebar, but the theme doesn't allow that. Does that kind of answer? So I had to create a blank page for the blog post river to live in.
Oh, so this will be your blog page, and the other one you didn't want it to be, you just wanted to use that template.
Yeah, the home page lists, because of the theme that I chose, the home page template of the theme, gateway theme, shows the first 3 most recent blog posts as part of the template, and then the content of the page. So I changed my home page. I changed the template to the home template.
Where is it?
So this home page has, my theme has 3 template options for pages. It has home, full width, and the default, which has a sidebar. So if I choose home, then this page shows the top 3, the 3 most recent blog posts. But if I went to a different page, I'll show you, this might help explain. So if I go to the contact page, and if I go to edit the page, and if I change the template to the default template, it will change the layout of the content of this page.
Maybe you were showing us the sample you've already done, and that's why it's confusing.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It's already there somewhere, but it's on the other side, right?
Yeah, but I think your question still shows a really good point, is that pages have templates, and you can switch the template to change the look of the page, depending on what the template is. And each theme is going to be different, going to have different templates included, and you can research that by, the theme demo. You can look at it, or they usually have it written out which templates are included. So I'm going to switch this back. But if I switch this to the home template, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose the sidebar. What else is going to happen? If I switch the contact page to the home template,
Testimonials.
I'm going to get the testimonials. The blog posts are going to be at the top, right? So I just wanted the full width, the regular one. So there are 2 different things. There's the WordPress setting to create a blank page that'll show the river of your posts, and then there's whatever templates are included in the theme. Okay, so speaking of those blog posts, let's fix those up so they look nice. So I like to trash the built-in one. I'm just gonna dump that. And add a new one. And what a joy. And I'm just adding quotes. I love coming home to a clean house. And then because I know that this theme, the reason I chose it is that it uses the featured image as the blog post layout here on the homepage. So I'm going to use this, set the featured image, and I grabbed a couple different headshots. They only have white people on the site. I try to find like different looking people, but. And I'm going to add that testimonials category. Remember the customizer setting was asking, because you can pull just a certain category of blog posts for that home template, the preview of the posts. I don't need it necessarily, but to avoid confusion on my client, I'm just going to create that testimonials category. And I got the picture, I got the quotes. And I found if I use the block post, the block quote text formatting, it didn't look quite right. So I'm going to turn that off actually. Publish. And there's my testimonial. There's one. So let's do 2 more. Add new. And made our.
I like how his house is so clean that just plain white.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's so clean. There's nothing in it. Yeah, it's hard when you're making up something.
Right.
Although when I share this with my housekeeper, she's gonna add her own stuff. Let's see, cleaning out our apartment was a huge chore on top of moving. Thanks to Kanika, we made our deadline. And set this image. Set the family. That works. Okay, and market testimonials. You could add tags if you are truly doing a blog. Don't need sharing, but I'll leave it. Well, actually, okay.
What tags would you add?
Well, if this was a real blog, you would add tags for whatever you're talking about.
Like what?
Well, actually, it might be good to add them anyway. So you might say moving, apartment cleanup, new home cleanup, moving assistance, maybe moving, cleaning, something like that. Any words that would tell more about whatever you're talking about.
So you just do that with commas and do all the words with commas?
Mm-hmm. Here, let's do a couple. So housekeeping, moving, cleaning, clean up. Let's do that. Move in, clean up, stuff like that. I just hit return between, but you can use commas too.
Does that help with SEO too?
Yes, the tags help with SEO because depending on the algorithm of the search site, usually Google, they're gonna take into account as many pieces of data as possible to rank your site. So theoretically, the tags will help. The tags also help if someone's, blogs grow organically. So if you are blogging and you find you blog a lot on comic books, and you start to have like 20 blog posts that are all about comic books, using the tags, you can grab all those, and then you could do a digest and say, are you interested in comic books? I've written all these blogs about comic books. So it's a really good way, not only for search engine optimization, but also to help people find your content and help group that content similarly. So kind of depending on where your site goes. So, okay, I'm gonna update that again, just make sure I got the tags in there. We can go over here and see how it came out. So I always like to work in 2 tabs, and just by sake of habit, I have the front end on the right and the back end on the left. You might notice sometimes they take over each other and I switch them. I just like to have it that way. So that's just a way of working. And we'll do one more. week make my house livable again. This is me. I hate cleaning. I don't do toilets. Love having a housekeeper. So I could add tags. I'm not gonna add tags. Is it this one? Family? Yes. Good. Okay. And publish.
Where's the permalink for? Where's it going?
This?
Yeah.
It goes directly to that post. I'll show you.
Oh, they can hit it off.
Yeah, so if I click on that, it's gonna go to a page, which is fine. And then the sharing here is added by Jetpack. So let's modify that since we're talking about that. Let's see, is it under? Well, let's do permalinks first, because notice that permalink is kind of ugly. Has the day on the post title. I want just the post name. I'm gonna save that. So that'll update the permalink so it's a little prettier. And then sharing this, oh, this is a different one. Okay, so here's the sharing buttons. And these are the enabled services. So you see on the blog post, see this share this right here? That functionality is added through the Jetpack plugin, one of their services. And if you like, so like for my art side, I added Pinterest. But if you're a big Reddit fan, you could add Reddit, you could add LinkedIn, email, and print. So I might do the email. I was going to show you that preview.
Go to.
The email is going to bring up, I think it just opens their email client. So it's not awesome.
Like one, a custom one for the site, or?
No, I think it just opens whatever email they're using on their machine and pre-populates it with the link. I'm not sure. Let's save it and see. Save, refresh. Oops. Oh, because I changed the permalink. That's why. Put it down here. So if I hit email. Oh, cool. Ooh, that's even better. So send to email. That's great. You can also choose which.
And I'm talking about that email portion. Who's controlling it? Is the do you have to control it yourself, or do people enter their own information that they want to receive posts?
So this is different. So you're asking how that email is controlled. This sharing button, this is intended, so like, say I happened upon this website and my mom is also looking for a housekeeper, and like, this is my housekeeper, I can send this to her. So I'll enter in mom.com.
Okay.
And the system has this automated magic that will send a link to this page to whoever I specify.
Okay, got it. Okay.
The subscription is different.
Right.
So we'll get to that in a sec.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cancel that. But real quick, so that's the sharing buttons. This right here is the publicize settings. This is another Jetpack goodie. This is really awesome. If you, I use this every time I post a blog post because it automatically sends my blog post to social media. So every time I write, every few weeks I'll do a blog post on my art business progress. And when I publish, it sends it to Facebook, to Twitter, and to LinkedIn, and shows up in the timeline there. So that's much easier than me having to post it and then copy the link and repost it to my social media. So that's really cool, especially for clients who are active on social media. So you just have to connect it. Usually you're on the machine where you're logged in, and it does that, do not allow connection. So that's really great. Oh, here you can choose which pages you want shared. So like if you want to allow someone to share a page, you would click that and those sharing buttons would show up. You can enter your Twitter name. You don't need that. You can choose the style of buttons. So that's a really cool little setting. Let's see. Let me go back home, see what else we have to do.
When you're flipping back to your two tabs,
Mhm.
I found if I'm updating the page, I end up getting several tabs open. What's the trick to not do that? Like when you want to view what you've changed and it'll open a new tab. Is
Oh.
that a setting or is that just knowing something?
No, after you modify, so she's saying she propagates tons of tabs when viewing progress. So when I'm viewing and modifying a post, I just have this habit. So where I don't click the view page here. So like if I modify this page and I hit update, you'll see the link. Come on, right here. Is that what you're clicking? That view post?
Yeah.
Well, that opens up in the same window. But usually either I do that or I'm at the page and I refresh, which you've seen me do. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a cool, you can right click and close tabs to the right, which is really neat. If you just burned a bunch of tabs, you use the reopen close tab all the time. So I'm always accidentally closing tabs. So that's cool. You can also bookmark all your tabs and then reopen all bookmark tabs if you want to like have your workspace kind of preset. It's a good idea. I've never done it, but yeah. Let's see what else do we need to do. So I want to add, let's do some widgets now because I want to add contact information to the footer and the sidebar shows up on these blog posts. So I want to modify this so that it looks a little better. All that is done in the widgets here. By default, these are kind of the sidebar default widgets that show. I don't want the archives, don't want that, don't want meta. Not really big on comments for this site. The recent posts are fine, but I'm going to call that testimonials. And I'm only using 3 right now. She could update those, which would be cool. Ooh, you know what we should do? Since I'm thinking of that. So part of what makes your clients want to keep you have them keep coming back to you is that you're thinking ahead of for their forward needs. So I just thought, well, we only have 3 testimonials now, but she's going to want to add to those as she gets more clients. So let's make that easy for her because it's really easy to do. So I'm going to add a page. I'm going to call it submit a testimonial. And I'm going to add a contact form. And so their name, their email. And I'm going to edit this and just call this testimonial. Area required, save. I don't think we can add an image. That's kind of the bummer. But maybe let's do, for those that are savvy, your image. Or please email it to me at try and make it as easy as possible, right? So now we have a page where if she has a client who's like, thank you, I love you so much. She's like, would you like to enter a testimonial via my website? And then she can send them this page. And then we want to add that notification so that she knows. No. She will need to create a blog post out of it. You could set it up. So there's Gravity Forms has a form to post tool that I'm about to dig into. So I'll share that with you once I figure out how it works. Where you can have, it basically allows for public submissions to your website and creates posts out of them that you then approve to go live. So I have to build that in the next couple weeks. So I'll show you how. I'm gonna make this a little more clear.
Will that form then accept that photo? Can they upload it there?
Yeah, this is a little confusing, huh? It does not have this form doesn't have an image upload capability, so I'm adding this so that they could, if you had like an image on your Facebook page, you could copy that URL and paste it here in this field. Let me do this. Copy and paste the URL. That's a little more clear, huh? Because most people have a photograph of themselves online somewhere, theoretically. Just trying to make it as easy as possible, but you know. Not bad. Just gonna do that. And maybe we'll add this. So because I have that box checked in the menu service to add new pages to the menu, I now have to go into the menu and remove it because I don't want it in the main menu. So I'm gonna remove that and save. But I might add it to the footer. So let me go back here to the widgets I was going to use. I have that one. And got some footer. Let's do your sites pages. So I think you can do a text link. So let me go back here. So I go to my pages and I want to view that page. Oops, no, sorry. I want to view the submit a testimonial page. I'm going to copy this URL. I'm going to create a text widget in the footer that says, love our service. Submit a testimonial. And this is where you need to know it's some HTML. href equals close. So I am, and it's a little dangerous to have this be an absolute URL, which includes the HTTP, because if I'm doing it in a development site, once I go live, I have to change this. It's hard to remember which links have those. And so it might be best to do this and have it be relative, where it's just relative means based on where that page is, just go to this other page. So you have to make sure there's a slash and then the other page. So we'll test that and see if that's the correct link.
So I can use the same folder on your desktop.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all kind of folder based. So just refresh to see my change, and nope, that was wrong. What did it go to? Let me see. Oh, so you see how I hover and you can see the URL right down here? That's good to figure out what you did wrong. So I just need that housekeeping part in there. And take out the URL. And save. Refresh. And yay, there we go. Okay, and now my sidebar, so I took away all those other things I didn't want. So I have just the testimonials here. I have the submit a testimonial. Before I hand this to my client, I would test all forms, make sure they're working correctly. What other widgets do we want? So that one's good. I want to have a contact maybe in the middle. So sign up. Let's see. What's our call to action? Get a quote. Quotes. Schedule a visit to start service. And then I might do the phone number or email. And here again, this is a text widget, so you need to add in the code to make this email a link. So ahref equals quote mail to close and close the tag and save it. Save, refresh, check. Save, refresh, check. There we go. Check that. And I'm looking at the little tooltip to make sure that it says mail to and it works. I'm not going to click on it right now, but you should test it before you send it. So what else? Love our service, submit a testimonial, get a quote, schedule a visit. We need something in the right footer, but I'm not sure.
Calendar.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So I was thinking about this because I did talk to her about a calendar. And there are kind of two options that I can think of. There's the event calendar, which is a really good plugin for events that builds a calendar and everything. But for her purposes, it's not like events where she's inviting people to an event. It's more to check availability. So I'm thinking of a Google Calendar where it's tied to her Gmail account, and she can make it a publicly viewable calendar where the appointments are listed as just busy. So that takes a little more setup. But let me see. We go to my calendar. So you can share, so you can create a calendar. This is your regular Google account. If you have a Gmail account, you have a calendar built in. So you go to this little widget boxy thing and you can choose what service you want to look at. And you can choose a calendar. So like on her calendar, she might create one that's like the housekeeping service and share this calendar. And you can, so I have it shared with my husband, and this was a coworker. I don't need anymore on there. And so you can make this calendar public and share only my free busy information. Let's do that. Let's just show it this way. Well, nah, that's okay. Trying to decide if I want to see that. And then you can somewhere embed the calendar in a page once I find it. Trash, share this calendar. Maybe I missed mission settings. Save. Details. Let me see. Embed Google Calendar. WordPress. Where's the embed code? I love this WP beginner site. If you ever see if you're Googling something and there's one of them, their options. So they're using a plugin. I'm not going to go through all this, but you get the point. So you can create a special calendar in your Google account. So I would like go with my client and set all this up for them and then embed it in their site. And it would just be one, your calendar can have multiple layers. So I would set up a special layer just for the housekeeping service, set it as busy or free, and then embed that so people can see. There's also a service called You Can Book Me that I used to use, which ties There's a few. This one's pretty cool. When I used to book a lot of meetings, it basically ties to your Google Calendar and allows people to make appointments with you automatically. It's pretty awesome if you have to book a lot of meetings. And then you just get an email, not just a screenshot. So if your client is someone who's taking a lot of meetings, this is a really good extra feature that you can add in. It creates a page. You have design control over the page, so it can look kind of like your site, and then you can take credit cards and all that. So especially if you're doing a website for like a coach or even the photographer website, you could set up, weekends that your photographer is available for bookings. So there's this one, you can book me, and then there's another one that's similar.
How do you get that into your booking?
You would I think it creates a page for you. So you would, yeah. So like mine was hhogan.com/you can book me or something like that. Or you can book me.hhogan.com. So I had a link that said, book a meeting with me, and it opened that page, and it has this capability for someone to choose a time, shoot an email, and then you can say whether you accept or deny or.
It's not like a widget.
Yeah, it's its own entity. So you probably wouldn't embed it, you would link to it. So yeah, so I would do those two things really. I would embed the Google Calendar so people could see availability, and then create a book me button, or set up your walkthrough basically. So maybe we already did that. There is a calendar here just for the placeholder's sake. I'll put it in here. View our schedule. This is not the right widget. It's a calendar of posts. It's not an actual calendar. But it shows a calendar, so you get the idea. So you could do that. So let's see. That's pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty basic site. Oh, you could add a call to act a hero thing. So I'm going to do a copy of this one. Where'd it go? Post, search, social media, Twitter timeline. That's cool. You could add the Twitter timeline to your page if your client uses that. The other idea I thought was adding a gallery of clean rooms somewhere.
How does that gallery on Jetpack differ from the other galleries? Or does it?
Let me see. It just shows a gallery. You can build it, choose images, carousel through them. So it's like you could put it in the sidebar if you just wanted to show pictures. Or if you had, that would work for ads actually. If you had if your client was selling different packages. So for this client, we might do small ads all the same size that said, bi-weekly or, cleaning, housekeeping twice a month, and then list the price and have a picture behind it, and then move in, move out special, then have the price. So we could use it as an ad rotator. So you could use, it's just anything to add images. So you could create all different things with that. Archives, blogs. So this is the blog subscription that you're asking about, Jim. You can subscribe to the blog via email. I'll show you that. I want to add, I'm not sure what this home hero space does. So let's throw something in there. Where's the text? There we go. Here we go. Get a quote. Save. Oh, this visibility button allows you to show certain widgets on certain pages if you're building something a little more complex. Okay, so it added this text in the home space, which doesn't look awesome, but we can fix it. So we got our testimonials. We got our subscribe to the blog right here. So that's what that's its basic look and feel. Subscribe to the blog via email. And then on it ties to your WordPress.com account. So if you wanted to see who is subscribed, you've got to go to WordPress.com and look at it there.
So does it build a little database for you for
Uh,
on your the .com site?
Yeah, it just shows who signed up and I think when they signed up. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not, you have no customization over it really, over like how the email looks. It uses the WordPress standard. So you don't have a ton. If you want more control, then you got to use like MailChimp. But this is a really good, cheap and easy subscription. So.
is there a fee for MailChimp?
No, not for the first, their free version is pretty generous.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So what am I missing, guys? Anything? We would add a calendar page. We kind of looked into that. I'm not going to demo that part. That would be, if I were to add one more page, I would add the calendar. I would get a picture of my client to add to the about page. Oops, this about page should be the other template. This should be the full width template. So after you kind of build in all the stuff, I just go searching and looking for errors. You know, just do quality control on your own, kind of switch hats from development to quality control and just surf through and click on everything. Make sure all your links are working. Like these are too dark here. So let's do a little custom CSS since we're doing this. I'm gonna inspect this. And I want those green colors on the white background, but in the footer. So I have two choices. I can make the footer not gray, so the links will show up, or I can change the color of the links. You know, I'm gonna make the footer not gray. So I don't know, let me try the customizer and see if that was an option in the footer. I don't know that it was. Background color, no. Background image, site identity. If they have a logo, you want to create this icon for them. Background colors, I'll get to choose. Background image, menus, we already hooked that up in menus. Static front page. So you can also do this here. They're just giving you those same options. Theme options, footer. Yeah, it doesn't give me the footer colors. Yeah, it would here. So if you want to pay their $50, they'll give you the easy way. But since you know CSS, you can go in and inspect that footer and change the color of it, right? So footer wrap has this background color. So maybe I'm going to change that to okay. So I like to change the color in the inspector to make it kind of look how I want. And then you can copy these two lines, copy, and then go into edit. I think it's edit CSS. Let's make sure. Yeah, so this is the edit CSS functionality that comes with the Jetpack plugin. So I'm going to go in here and footer wrap, that background color I just tried on and I liked it. I'm going to make sure I close that tag, save that style sheet, and it should have overwritten. There should be no change. Yeah. So there, and I just made that live. Cool.
So you end up with two CSS style sheets, the one that you just created, and you can keep adding more and more to it?
Yep. Yeah, let's do one more. Let's do the home hero image. This get a quote thing is not very visible. So what if I did this? Site branding, hero image, the row. Trying to look for one to add to that's side ID to explore. So these are all, I'm looking for a very specific class name so that I only change this item and not anything else. It's like if I add a class to row, then anywhere that row is used, I'm going to make that change. That's not what I want. If I use this one, any text widget is going to take on that change. So I'm looking for something very specific. So hero widgets wrap seems pretty specific to me. So the color, so here's the color of the text, some of it. So let me try this. If I go background color, black. Not awesome, but let's see. What if we do CCC to match the footer?
Are you gonna put a RGBA and put a?
Yeah, a little transparency. That's a good idea. For that, I have to do this. RGBA. Okay. Parent. I don't know syntax. I can never remember the right syntax for. There it is. It's not an RGBA though. Okay. I do know how to change this. Well, let's look for a real one. Transparent. There we go. But I want, is there a builder? I want a builder. It'll just tell me the right color. There we go. Cool. So there, I just built the color. I might have to use a different, if I wanted to, so if you're using your client's custom branding colors, you probably would want to start with a hex. And in that case, you would search hex to RGB. And then the A, the 0.6 is the level of transparency. So, no, you didn't like that? Oh, R. There we go. So then I would copy this whole thing, copy, go over back to my CSS, do a new line, and I'm going to take out these ones that I'm not using, because why? You're just wasting memory if you're repeating them. And that was a little light, so I'm going to make this 07. Save, go back here, and refresh. There. And I might change the text color to black or whatever, but you kind of get the idea, right? So once you do all the easiest settings, then you go to the CSS and change things as you need. In a site I was building, like I was saying, they had that freemium, so like some of the features you have to pay for, and the one I was using was $100, so I didn't want to pay that. So what I did was I inspected the page source, I found the CSS, I copied the whole thing, and then I did a find and replace on all the hex codes for the red that I didn't like and changed them to my color, and then pasted that into the custom CSS. So that's a good way to get around not having to buy the theme.
If you reduce your page size to 80% of the screen size, does that start affecting your, when you scroll down, your screen size with your responsive website?
You do want to be careful. That's a good thought. You want to be careful that your custom CSS changes do not affect the responsive stuff that's built in. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, well, if you were doing it right now, if you would produce it to 80%,
Mm-hmm.
will it affect responsiveness?
No, because I didn't write any custom CSS that messes with any of the sizing. When I'm writing custom CSS, it's usually fonts and colors.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it should be, because you should choose a theme that is close enough to what you want without having to, like, once you start messing with widths and sizes, it's a nightmare. You're going to break it.
Okay.
Period. If you want that much control, you need to start from scratch or start from a framework like Genesis or Bootstrap. Because trust me, modifying the sizes of things in a theme that's already made is a nightmare, because they've already perfected it all, and they're using probably Less or Sass, which is a CSS kind of builder tool, which makes it a lot easier. So you're in a world of pain if you try to go there.
Okay.
But font size.
Font size, that gets a little tricky. If you're going to modify font sizes, you have to be aware of the different sizes make sure that you're modifying the size for the screen size that you want to target, because those font sizes are changing for different screen widths, right? Anything else we're missing here?
Would it be unprofessional to have a link to a social site so that you know who's going to your house?
Yeah, so that's totally up to the client. I would link to her if she probably should create a Facebook page for her business, and then I would link to that page. As long as she kept up with it. There's no point in linking to social media if your client doesn't use it. Then it actually detracts from the professionalism. But yeah, so the only things we would kind of do now, like at this point, I would probably maybe fix a few of these things in the hero header. Then I would probably send it for review and say, I'm at like 80% done. Is this everything you were expecting? Because you don't want to make it totally perfect without them seeing it. I usually like to give it to the client at about 80% complete so that they can say whether or not it's what they expected, kind of depending on your client. Like I have a client right now where I'm going to get probably 95% of the way done and then show it to them, because they are not that picky. They just want it done. So if your client is more hands-on, you might give them peeks every once in a while, like whether that's giving them access to the development site or taking screenshots and sending those as check-ins. I highly recommend having a weekly or every 2-week meeting with your client throughout the project so they don't fall off the face of the earth, and so they know what you're doing. Yeah, any more questions about that demo? Going. Oh. Yep.
When you started and you just started from scratch with a new page, and you wanted to get rid of what was already there, and you said maybe you forget something later, is there I'm wondering why you prefer to do that, and also what the meta, I've never understood what the meta is, or the
Sure.
there's another thing that they give you automatically.
Okay, we'll start with your first question. So, and there's one more thing I forgot to delete. So WordPress, when you install it, it has certain default things. So it has a hello world post. I delete that because I've found through error that if I open it and edit it, I inevitably forget to change the permalink, and the post, I'll change the post name and I'll change everything, and then the link will say hello world, and it just gets me every time. So I just delete it, because if you start with a fresh post, it'll automatically create that permalink from the page title. The other thing is the plugins. Every site is equipped with Akismet, which is great. I would activate this for my client.
What does that do?
It's a spam blocker. So if you have a site that's using comments, I highly recommend it. This site's not using comments, so it's not really needed since we're not showing any comments. The Hello Dolly, I just delete that because it's silly. It just says, I don't even know what it does. just silly. And since I'm not using this, I like to delete any plugins I'm not using because it's just bloat. Every time you back up your site, it's going to be more stuff you have to deal with. So since we're not going to use Akismet on this, I'm going to delete that. And then actually, let me show you the kind of behind the scenes stuff that you would do. There's a couple plugins I add to every site. The Yoast SEO, not SEA, SEO. I add this to every site. Helps with SEO. It gives you tips. It helps add special text and images for social media. It might not be totally needed for this site, but I'm just showing you anyway. And so that's kind of cool. Basically, here, I'll show you what it looks like when I go to a post. I don't want to update right now. If I edit this post, you'll see the SEO thing. There you go. So it's going to show you what your search result's going to look like. You can add a focus keyword. You can get more information about each item. It gives you a really quick stoplight for your score. It lets you add extra information. If you have posts that are you want to encourage social sharing, it lets you add special titles for Facebook and descriptions and a special image because they use special image sizes. Excuse me. So that Yoast SEO is a really great plugin. It also builds the XML sitemap for you, which helps with search engine optimization. When you install this the first time, they would just go through everything and read about it. And then once you install it the next time, it's much easier. The other plugins I always install are one called Duplicator, which is a backup plugin by Life in the Grid. This creates an entire clone of the website, and it includes an installer, which I use. I'm not going to activate it right now. Well, then I will. Might as well show you the whole thing because I'm going to. Well, okay. I'll delete the site eventually, but so it adds a little feature to the sidebar here, and you can create a package. So anytime I'm going to go into a site and update the core software or any of the plugins or make any major changes, I'm going to create a new package, which is a zip file of all of the site's content and its database. And then I download them to my computer and I have my files synced with Google Drive. So I have, at all times, I have a relatively up-to-date backup of every client's website. I build this. The installer is pretty cool. If you follow the instructions, it makes it a little easier to upload a site to a new location. Using the installer does a lot of the work for you. So then I'll archive it and just save it on my hard drive and in the cloud. So this is my backup. So I recommend using that. And this plugin works directly with Desktop Server, which is a $99 software program that lets you do local development. So right now I'm doing this demo website on my server. So this is live on the World Wide Web. When I'm doing development for clients where that's not possible or the content is a bit more sensitive, especially if you're working in a team with multiple developers, almost everyone works on their local computer. So it's just on your machine, and your machine acts as a server. And that's what Desktop Server does. And it uses these packages to easily install websites.
Is that different than Dreamweaver?
Yes. Dreamweaver won't work with WordPress because you need that database relationship. So you need like a virtual database. So Desktop Server is a less developer, it's more of like a designer friendly method. The other ones are MAMP, WAMP, and VVV are the other more programmer style local development tools. But I like desktop server. I also know the guys that made it and they're very nice.
What about Muse? What's up with that?
Muse is a builder. Muse is like Squarespace. You're gonna get a lot of bloat using Muse. Duplicator, oh, the last one I like to use, the last plugin I normally install, although I'm having issues with it lately because it keeps locking me out of my own site. I have to check my settings, is iThemes security. There are a number of security plugins. I picked this one and I just use it over and over again. It has an automated backup, which is great. So I have all my client sites on automated backup, which are emailed to me every 3 to 13 days. And then I have a rule in my email inbox that just puts them in a folder, so I don't have to look at them. So I still have another backup there. So there's nothing worse than having a client come to you and say, my website was wiped out, and you not having the tools to fix it, right?
Anything for viruses, or is that automatically controlled?
This security plugin has a checker that you can check for malware. If you're really worried about security, Securi is a really good service. SECURI, Securi. They do WordPress security professionally, and you can sign up for accounts with them. So you can make a backup, you can allow file updates. This is the, I'm not gonna do all this right now, but what I do on all my sites is I set up the backups so that they're emailed to me. Got a whitelist your IP address. I basically do what they recommend. So I set up the backups, and you can set up away hours. So it'll tell me when my sites are being attacked. So like I kept getting all these emails saying that my Tenacious Goods website was blocking IPs because people were trying to hack in. And so I set up away hours for my.
What do they gain from that?
Sorry?
What do hackers gain from that?
What do hackers gain from that? I have no idea why. What I've been told is that they sometimes will use your server as like a slave for larger computing power. But the scary thing is that they can put things, if they crack into your server or your WordPress site, they can put things on it that could get you in trouble. Usually what I've had is like ads for erectile dysfunction, ads for, mostly ads, right? But there is the danger that they could put something illegal related to child pornography or terrorism on your website, and then you're liable for it. So that's the real life scary part of wanting to be protected. So this has tons of capabilities. What I normally have done, I enable the 404, so if they keep hitting a page that doesn't exist, it just locks them out. Here's away mode, so you can set the admin to just be on complete lockdown during the middle of the night while you're sleeping, which is nice. You can ban users that keep trying to hurt you. You can do backups.
I'm sorry, on the away mode, does that mean that you're not able to update during that period?
Right.
Okay.
So if you're a night owl, then don't do that. I'm pretty much not going to be working on my websites from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. So I just locked them out. The hide the backend, is that the right one? Yeah, I do this one often, especially for clients who have had security issues. Every WordPress site, the default to login is that domain /wplogin.php. So the hackers know that. So if they want to try and log into your site, that's the page that's going to show them the username and password box. Using this, you can change that login slug to something else. So like mine, I've switched it to do it right, or for the client, I'll choose a word that's meaningful for them. So I like that feature. Here's the malware scan that's run by security. So it'll scan, they keep a log of scripts that are nasty and it checks for them.
If you get hacked, there's no way to show that you are, or prove it.
There would
So
be-
you're liable for code, even though, I mean, is there a way to go back and show that it was hacked?
Yes, technically there would be logs, but you never know how smart the hackers are. You know? I don't know. I've never had that problem, thankfully. So this will show you if there's any issues. You can enable force strong passwords. So, and then there are all these tweaks. It does, when you first install it, it tells you the base recommendations, and then you can go in from there and kind of read about it. So those are the ones I kind of always install.
What about, is it possible to do pop-ups, like for yourself,
Pop-ups?
if you want to do something different,
What kind of pop-up?
like for your own website, like an introduction or something, like, I don't know, just get artistic, you know?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of plugins that do, especially those ones where if you're on the page for like a minute, then it'll pop up a sign up for our newsletter. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, those are all plugins that are based on your client need. These plugins I pretty much install every time. I think that's it. Sometimes I'll install, there's a Google Analytics dashboard plugin, but Jetpack does site stats in the dashboard right here. So I usually just use that. And you notice there's a lot more screen options now that I have more stuff. Installed. There you go. Yeah.
What is the meta,
Oh, the meta. That is a widget. It basically is a login widget.
and it's visible to everyone?
Yes,
Okay,
that's why I generally remove it.
okay.
Here you can kind of see. Save. Here. So this is the meta. So it's the RSS, WordPress.org, logout, site admin. These are things that I try and tell the client to bookmark so they can find their own site. They're not usually necessary. Yeah. This Gravatar, I was talking about this a little bit before. That's when you sign up for a WordPress account, you can add an image of yourself that goes with your email address, and then it's everywhere. It's kind of cool. So, okay. There we go. We built a whole site in a few hours. Not too bad, right? Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna stop this.